Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very 73rd episode of Cooldown Timer. My name is Neefu, and with me today I am joined by Zingles Artman.
Legion.
And from the frozen wastelands, Mark.
Yeah, it's me. I bet if you were wondering, they're not frozen yet. No.
See, yeah, there's like, I've reused every joke about that like 3 times already.
You don't have any comments left to make.
There are no more comments left to make about the frozen, not frozen, frozen, not frozen wastelands of Alaska.
Or even the frozen wastelands.
Yeah.
Because then you just say it and I say, yeah, it's really cold.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's
Alaska.
Fall. Leaves are changing. Weather happens in Alaska too. We have seasons.
The place that has seasons so extreme, they have to pay you to stay.
It's a perk.
Yeah, you call it a perk, but then you're complaining about the rent prices, and I'm like, holy, that's pretty.
Yeah,
pretty good.
That's more of an Anchorage problem.
Where there are houses already built?
Yeah, but you have to. Okay,
you gotta understand, Neefu. If he wanted to live in a teepee, he could.
This is a gaming podcast, but fine, we'll get into regional
intricacies of Alaska.
Okay, you have to understand that Alaska's a weird place. Like, more than half of the population of Alaska lives in this city. This is the place everyone wants to live. So
more than half the population of Alaska hates the other half of the population of Alaska for living in Anchorage.
Yeah, that's fair, actually. That's pretty accurate. You've summed it up exactly.
Sellouts. Anchorage sellouts.
Yeah. But if you don't want to live in Anchorage, land is so cheap as long as you don't mind having no roads going to it and no electricity and no sewage and no water.
And no internet and no groceries and...
I've seen lots of 10 acres for sale for only $2,000.
Good Lord, that is cheap.
I could buy that. Where is it? Oh, it's just 100 miles off the road, accessible only by float plane, no utility. I actually was really tempted to buy some of that land just because I could. Just because it was
like,
so
I'm a landowner.
You ain't no man if you ain't got land.
So basically what you're telling me right now.
I'd build a shed, get a shotgun, tell people to get off my property.
Let me see if I got this straight. Basically what you're saying here is that Alaska is the worst.
It's not the worst. I'd hate to live in Canada. Northern Canada, at least. Oof. Florida is hot.
Florida's not good.
Humid, hurricanes. And I went there for the first time this year.
The very elements want to destroy Florida.
Yeah.
I have a friend who lives in Virginia, and they recently had a stage 1 hurricane, and he was posting all these videos with these satirical comments talking about how horrible the hurricane was and how it was, there were people in the streets dying and whatever, and he's posting videos and it just looks like a bad storm, but it's not terrible.
I've heard this hurricane season's a bit weak sauce. It's mostly tropical storms.
Step it up, guys.
Yeah. Come on, step it up. Katrina was ages ago.
Well, that got dark.
Where's the sequel?
Katrina 2, The Reckoning.
Yeah.
Spelt wreck.
Perfect. This time, it's personal. Video games.
Speaking of forces of nature that come to wipe out all existence.
Legion!
Apparently, the Burning Legion has recently come to Azeroth.
Apparently, you've been playing it with me. Don't even try to pretend you don't like WoW.
I'd always heard all these articles about how WoW is dying, how it doesn't have as many subscribers as it used to, and it is a pretty old beast. But I gotta say, it seems everyone's super hyped about Legion and loving it.
Well, from my understanding, it's the highest subscriber numbers they've had since...
Cataclysm.
But the other thing is that, WoW has been on a constant downtick, But if you actually compare the numbers, it still has like 5 times more subscribers than the second highest MMO.
It's kind of like saying
if that's
China.
dying.
It's kind of like saying China's population's going down. Like, yeah, but
There's still one of them for each of us.
they kind of started up pretty high.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's dead. It's dead." It's like it's not dead. It's less.
It's
Yeah.
like Bill Gates
I know that there's
$10
still
billion.
login queues sometimes on our server.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they only post Legion again, but I mean that's
you
what
could
we're
get them
talking
every
about.
once in a while in Warlords of Draenor and Warlords of Draenor. So we won't
So
talk about
what's the deal with Legion?
that. Pretty
well,
much.
They've
Shit's
made
hitting the fan, yo.
a lot of really good gameplay mechanic shifts and changes
yes.
that make it a much more easy to consume, but also I don't know, more interesting, more it feels so much better.
Yeah,
I guess,
but
is what I'll
without
say.
sacrificing like without really sacrificing anything. Like from my I'm not seeing anything where I'm like, oh man, like all these changes are great, but I wish they hadn't done this. You know, like everything I'm going, yeah, this is nothing but improvements.
Yeah.
It's not like they made it super easy or something like that. It's not like they just made it better.
Well, that's
So
good.
I think one of the biggest immediate changes that you notice playing Legion versus any other WoW expansion or most MMOs, though some MMOs are shifting to this style, is that every region in the new area, all of the main like questing regions, scale to your level. There is a 110 only. There's a couple 110 only little areas and then a bigger one, but
Yeah.
most of the rest of the questing areas scale to your level, which I think addresses one of the issues that just always didn't quite work in my head,
It makes
where
the
like
quests feel so less grindy when you can just do whatever you want at your own pace.
exactly it feels like it's less that the level that your whatever your level is less a wall that you're hitting against and more just I guess it acts more like the okay, once you hit this level then you can do the this other stuff instead of you have to get to this level to do this area and then that level to do that area. It's just here's this area and then there's the hard people over there that you can get to when you're ready.
Yeah, and it's good stuff. Like a lot of people I know beforehand, before Legion came out, a lot of people were complaining about the artifacts. The fact that like artifacts were going to be more common and that
Claire, explain that for
basically
everyone else.
MMOs have different levels of items, and I don't actually know the names that WoW uses for everything because I call them by the color. But it generally goes like gray, green, blue, purple. Then a lot of times either like yellow or orange, depending on your MMO. And those are like so rare, you almost never find them. And that's how it's been in WoW. I mean, there's only a couple that I even know about. But in this one, they added a whole bunch, and they're making them a lot more common. And they're making these artifacts that are actually part of your main story for your character, where you get an artifact that has a special significance to the world, and you basically level it up. And everyone's just like, what? So we don't get weapons and weapon drops anymore? It's like, no, you don't get weapon drops, but you get upgrades for your weapon, and you get power for your weapon. And so it's like you still are, it becomes almost a second character where your weapon is literally leveling up with you. And it's actually a freaking ton of fun. I like it more than I was expecting to like it. But I haven't heard much complaints since it came out. I've only heard good things about it. But beforehand, I heard a lot of people complaining about it.
Yeah, as you can expect with any
Yeah.
rather large change.
Yeah. Well, and it's really neat because like I don't know about you, Neefu, but like I'm just with my artifact, like it really does feel like part of your character, like, but at the same time like almost its own entire entity. Like I know for and my weapon is dumb too. Like I play a resto shaman, so my weapon is basically a baby rattle. But like as it's getting more and more powerful and stuff, like every time I get to use that move from it and everything, it just feels awesome. And like druids got freaking spoiled.
Well,
their weapon actually changes their appearance now, and so they look amazing.
Here's the thing about my weapon. So my main is a hunter, and the weapon itself isn't really all that interesting, but it allows you to have a second hunter pet. And I may have taken that ability to have a second hunter pet to heart, and apparently now my character is basically Chris Pratt from Jurassic World.
It does look pretty great.
He's a raptor trainer, so he's got 2 battle raptors with him. He rides a raptor, and then occasionally he'll have like a little baby raptor following him around sometimes.
It's good to have a theme. Especially if that theme is dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Also, they added the rat stallion, which is the best freaking mount ever, and I will use it forever. I love it. It's a rat.
So another interesting change that doing the whole level scaling thing does is it turns. So normally when you'd get to, max level, there would be that one single area that is for max level. But, and this one has one that is for max level only. But
we'll talk about Suramar for a minute in a bit. Keep going.
But with having the entire world be at your max level with you, suddenly the more monotonous idea of daily quests that you'd have to do to grind rep or whatever suddenly become a lot more interesting, because the landscape is much more varied because you have the entirety of the new area to do whatever.
Yeah.
I guess they're called world quests.
Yeah, I really like the world quests, and I like that. They are just constantly are just getting new world quests. But I really like what they did, where every day you have a new chest where completing 4 or 5 world quests for a certain rep group will give you, or for a certain faction will give you a chest that has random junk in it. And I know you can even get a quest for a mount from one of those and stuff. Like, you can get some pretty cool stuff from them. Mainly it's just gold and rep and artifact power, but and they did a lot. And I really, really like the world quests, because daily quests were boring. Daily quests were so boring, and like, you can kind of pick and choose with the world quests because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like the only ones I don't pick and choose with are the Suramar ones, because you kind of got to do all the Suramar ones if you want the rep for the extra dungeons, because we already have more dungeons than Warlords of Draenor, and they're planning on adding more.
See, if I would say that from my experience of playing Legion so far, if there was, to me, a weak point, it would be the dungeons.
What? Dude, I love these dungeons.
So we were talking about this the other day. You have done most of the dungeons, if not all of the ones that are available right now.
I've done all of the mythics twice.
I've only done a handful of them, and I don't know. I have been... to me, they've felt very dry and boring.
Man, have you done Halls of Valor?
I don't know their names.
The Viking-looking one that's like all Valhalla, where you have to fight through a mead hall and you kill Odin in the end.
Yeah, I've done that one.
I love that one. Though, if you look at the mechanics in the final fight, it's so cool. It's so cinematic, and it all has to tie in with the story of the area, because like the whole area, you're trying to get that shield, right? And you at the final fight, he's like, "Oh, you guys, you've proven yourself worthy. Here's the shield," and he throws it down to you. And then like the big bad guy shows up and steals it, and then you have like a scuffle over the shield where you're fighting him, and you each take the shield and you're using it against each other during the fight, and that is such a fun mechanic.
No, and I like that. It's a fun idea. It's just, in general, I have found the dungeons to be less interesting, and I have not been as motivated to do the dungeons as I was in later.
I think the only one I really don't like is Eye of Ashara. Just because as a healer, it's a pain in the ass, because you're getting blown around and everyone's spread out super thin on like 2 of the fights. It's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
But I love all the other dungeons. Have you done Blackrook Hold yet? That one's pretty cool.
You speak. I don't know the names.
It looks like a Dark Souls dungeon.
I've never played Dark Souls. We've talked about this.
It's a dark castle full of creepy monsters, like an
Then
actual legitimate castle.
I don't think I have.
Okay, that one's really fun too. I like that one a lot. I like all of them, man. They're all good except for Eye of Ashara, which is mediocre.
Speaking of Dark Souls and the fact that Mark never really got to say much during that conversation, Mark, do you have any thoughts or questions you'd like to express or ask about Legion so that we can include you in the conversation?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
it all sounds pretty cool. Sounds like they've done a good thing with their game, and that they are reaping the rewards thereof and making many people happy.
Yep.
And
Just not you, because you played
You played
20
once.
levels.
yeah, I just don't think WoW's really my bag.
Here's the beautiful thing, though. If you were to get Legion, you wouldn't have to do that 1 to 100 grinding.
Yeah, you'd start you out at 100.
Right. I am wondering now.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
If a big release like Legion actually has effect on other industries. Like, are restaurants making less money because people are staying home?
Well, I know that like half my guild took off work on launch day.
Has this affected the U.S. economy?
A couple of them took off a week. Took a week of vacation time to play Legion.
But no, it sounds fun.
Jeez, somebody's popular.
Sorry, people messaging me about D&D tonight.
Oh, aren't you popular?
You know it.
So speaking of popular things that when they finally came out weren't as popular,
That's one way to put it.
I wonder what this could be about.
we a couple weeks back when that episode that we skipped, we were gonna do an episode on No Man's Sky, then it didn't end up doing an episode. So No Man's Sky, we haven't talked about it on here yet.
I played it.
I think I played it too.
I liked it.
It was what I expected it would be.
I agree with a very small minority of people that say like it's fun in a very specific like circumstance. Like it's not something you're going to sit and obsess over and play for hours and hours and hours a day. It's something that you kind of take kind of lightly and chill out to, and it's fun exploring in that game. And I never stopped having fun exploring in that game personally.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I've seen people play it, and I thought, hey, this actually looks like fun.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
Hold on, pause for a second. Mark, you got echoey all of a sudden.
He didn't.
Oh,
for
sorry.
me.
Well, I did move into a different room.
Yeah, you got
Let me
echoey.
adjust. How does it sound now?
Speak.
Hello. Hello.
It's a bit echoey, but if you keep your mouth close to the mic.
I'll just
suck on the mic, you're fine.
whisper. I'll just whisper into the mic like gosh, whisper.
No, but now we got
Right in your ear.
now you're peeking, or not peeking, but like popping the
Got
mic.
some sexy ASMR stuff going on here.
What could you possibly be talking about?
That'll be
Okay.
our next podcast, Mark's Sexy ASMR Hour.
Bzz, bzz, I'm right in your ear.
Okay, try talking.
Okay.
It's just that for an hour.
Let's get composure.
Buzz buzz. Buzz buzz buzz. Buzz 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 buzz.
Okay, so I think there was definitely a lot of hype about the game, and I'm not someone who gets hyped easily these days. Mm-hmm. So when I heard about it, I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be something cool. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. And then it came out, and from what I've seen, that it's more impressive than I thought it would be, because they promised like a quintillion planets, and I'm like, pshaw. And that's definitely something they delivered on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm impressed, but I think some people might have been expecting a little bit more.
People were expecting too much. Like I was pretty cynical about the game actually. I got in an argument with a couple of my friends
Oh boy.
about it before it came out, where I was just like, man, we don't even know what's going to happen in this game. And they were like, it's going to be the best. It's going to be this. And I'm like, but they never actually said that. And I mean, I get that there's the big argument over the multiplayer thing. That's the big thing, right? Did he lie? Did he not lie? I don't really care personally. Like, it would be better with multiplayer.
It does tell you the dangers of the hype machine.
Yeah, this game though hyped. It's like it got out of control, and I can understand why.
I mean, they were on the Colbert Report, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
it was Stephen Colbert on the whatever Letterman show was.
Okay, well, I can see from them being an indie studio going, yeah, we got hype, you know, and then like not discouraging that, you know, but at the same time, like,
oops, what have we created?
Yeah, they created a monster. And like only part of that is really their fault. I kind of feel bad for them.
Well, you know, I don't feel bad for them, actually, and here's why. This is essentially an indie game that got a much larger release than it ever should have gotten.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were just showing me Eco the other day.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of it, and I don't know anyone who's heard of it, and it's unlikely to become a huge thing. And Star Citizen should have been on the same level. So I think they're crying all the way to the bank, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't heard them, like, complaining or anything. I mean...
Right, perhaps their complaints, their sadness has been hyped up as well.
So let's talk about it more specifically. What do you guys think went wrong with the game? Like, how do you think the game didn't fit with expectations?
I think a lot of people thought it was going to be something like, speaking of hype, Star Citizen is selling itself as, where we're all in space and we mine things and we build spaceships and there's a million planets, a billion planets, and that's
technically that game already exists.
But the game is really more of
You're saying an Eve?
Well, I mean, okay.
Eve isn't a video game; it's a spreadsheet simulator.
Well, people forget that the quote spaceship simulator unquote is a genre that's been around forever. Like, this genre is almost as old as video. Probably not, but you know,
it's pretty bloated too. My older brother really likes them, and sometimes will be like, "Have you played Dark
X3
Star
Rebirth or whatever?"
Yeah. or Flame Bucket. I don't know.
Flames Bucket.
It's just the most ridiculous name. So I'm like, no, and I've never heard of it. And he's like, oh, it's just the best space simulator.
I do know that I like the idea of space simulators, and I really tried hard getting into
Elite Dangerous,
but it's so clunky and hard to control. And like, I mean, I get that you're flying a spaceship. It's not supposed to be easy, but I wanted it to be easy. I didn't want to spend hours watching YouTube videos on how to fly a goddamn ship because I had to.
Not just spend hours watching YouTube videos, but spending $300 to get the full setup of different like switches, joysticks, buttons, and whatnot. Right.
Well, and I mean, like you do have to like set up your controls and stuff because they kind of expect you to have like really weird controls like that for things like that. And for this one, I was just like, I can't even crash into the ground. Look, I can fly right into the ground and it autocorrects me. I like that. I like that I can feel like I'm flying a spaceship without actually having to
know how to fly a spaceship.
Yes, because
you know what happens? How in the Battlefield games you can't just hop in a helicopter or you'll die. At least the old. I don't know about the new ones, but I just remember being like, "Oh, a helicopter," and I crashed into the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's like yeah, and you know what? I like not having to know how to fly a spaceship because I'm not very good at flying spaceships, even if I spent hours and hours learning. Meaning that if I was flying that spaceship, I'm not going to be very good at it. In this game, I can be good at it.
Yeah.
And like, I know a lot of people complained about the ship combat. I actually kind of liked it. I did not like the foot combat at all, but I liked the ship combat. Personally, like it felt like a dogfight without it being ridiculously hard to know what you're doing. I will say my Elite Dangerous, my very limited Elite Dangerous experience helped me a little bit. But, I think that the game was trying to be something that people thought it was going to be something completely different.
Yeah. See, what it was, what people expected it to be, and the direction they ended up taking it in were very different, because the direction it went in was almost like a single player first person Starbound without building. Mm-hmm. Instead of, you know,
yeah, I don't know, the RPG to end all RPGs, what they're thinking. And I mean, it has RPG elements, but it's more of just a laid-back exploration game
and collection game.
Yeah,
and I don't, with the mechanics that are in the game, I think that it would be best served by doing two things. And Zam, you and I have been talking about we haven't talked about it recently, but we did talk about this. One, adding easily figured out and organized multiplayer, and adding the ability to build bases.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because yes, it makes the focus immediately not be on what's in the center of the universe, but I hate to disappoint, the meaning of life isn't that interesting if you find out what's at the center of the universe. So,
spoiler alert here.
I mean, you know,
unless Mark doesn't want to know.
Well, I don't know. It just kind of makes me think about Spore, actually.
Yeah.
What was at the center of the universe in Spore?
Well, it's the center of the galaxy, not the whole universe. But I never actually made it there, but I had a friend who did, because it's really hard. And it's really not... You get there, some cutscene plays, and you get an item that lets you instantly terraform worlds. But you can only has 50 charges, and it's kind of like at the point of the game where you can get there, terraforming worlds is trivial.
Right.
So it's obviously... But in Spore, they could kind of do that, because it wasn't even really the point. The point was, hey, look, I made a new species, and it's flying around, and I'm bored now. Let's make another one. Still stage.
That
Basically,
was terraforming planets was my favorite way of attacking an opposing force in that game.
Oh, by like freezing the world to death.
Yes. By turning their civilized planet into either a ball of fire or a ball of ice.
It did make the planets less useful to you, but if you want to be just this Borg force.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Like
I
world
was
sterilizer.
gosh,
by that point I had, I had become a very petty ruler, and it's like, you have slighted me, I will destroy your race.
I have done that a few times, and I always imagined as I'm flying around with my heat beam raising the temperature that the aliens are like, we've got to stop him, he's raising the temperature. Scramble fighters, it's too late. The ground is lava.
Man, now I'm wishing I'd gotten further into the space age in Spore, because I never got far.
Yeah, it has some things going for it, but after a while it's like kind of the same thing always.
Yeah.
That's Spore. But this is No Man's Sky, which is all about doing the same thing but different.
Yeah. Well, really quick, spoiler for the end of No Man's Sky, if for some reason anyone cares.
Okay.
At the center of the galaxy, you get to a new galaxy and the game starts over again.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
It's just
New Game
Plus. You made it here. Here's the new universe you could do the exact same thing in. Ain't it the best? Do.
Now, and I haven't really looked into this, because like I said,
Space babies.
I wasn't really one of those people super hyped for this game, so I really didn't stay up to date on it. But from my understanding, he said there was going to be something amazing at the center of the universe, and there's not, unless you think playing the whole game again is amazing, which, I mean, I suppose he might.
Did he say that, or did Peter Molyneux say that with the center of the cube?
Well, no. See, a lot of the complaints I was hearing were about that specifically from him.
And tap the cube, something in the middle. It's awesome.
What was it?
You could be a god in a game that you can't be a god in, because we never finished it.
Oh.
Mr. Molyneux, the king of hype. King of overpromising.
The king of letting people down.
The king of having the biggest imagination.
He's a king.
us when we were like, you know, in like high school and earlier, when we had these big grand ideas for these videos that we were gonna make.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we'd Molyneux those videos up to our friends, you know? It's like, it's
We
gonna
did.
be the greatest thing in the world. We're gonna
Well,
become rich on merchandising.
I think
and it's
mainly
gonna
you
be
were the one that said that.
We did fly high though. Remember
We
our
did.
high hopes for that D&D web series?
Yeah.
I think by that point I had already started becoming cynical.
It was
I
our
had
last
backed
big
away
thing
from
we
that.
tried.
Yeah.
I did look damn sexy in my costume for that show though.
And I was really proud of my script.
I was really
But-
proud of my costumes.
But it was a disaster all the same.
Utter disaster.
I remember I got mad because the first episode, the barbarian's supposed to die, so I gave him all the best lines, so it mattered. But because he was only going to be in one episode, we had our worst actor play. So all these great lines I came up with just weren't working anymore. And then we never made any more episodes, so it didn't matter anyway.
Did you? Where is that footage?
I don't know. I forgot about that.
It's lost to limbo. If you don't have it, it's just gone, I think.
I wasn't.
I know. I'm just
didn't-
saying, I don't have it, and I don't imagine Zach has it.
Oh God, no.
So if you don't have it, I have no
That
idea
was
where it is.
that one was such a
It's
pain for
probably
me
lost with the camera.
because I kept trying to get. That was like herding cats, getting anyone to do anything in that one. It was so hard getting actors. Oh my God. So hard getting actors.
When you don't have any money to pay them with.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if we paid them, they would have. The problem was we were all kids basically, and so
Yeah.
no one could do anything.
Well, yeah. So
Honestly, we
would have
could
been
probably do something like that
19.
now. We would just have to go and be like, "Hey, acting students, come do this thing," and
Yeah, the moment you start talking about that cynical mind, like cynical voice in the back of my head is just like, this is gonna be terrible. Don't even expend the effort to imagine what it could look like.
wasn't it
You're
you
just gonna
like a
get
couple
your-
months ago that was like, "Hey, we should do something," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and I
No.
had that process go through my mind, and you know,
Yeah,
no,
in the
actually,
back of
Mark,
your,
Mark
in the
popped that bubble.
I did?
Yeah.
What was it?
Remember, it was like, I want to try to do these little animated shorts based off of snippets of the podcast.
right.
And you were like, this is going to be terrible.
Well, animation's really hard.
Yes,
And
animation is
you
really
and Zach
hard.
couldn't even finish a comic book. And they don't move.
Yes, that's because in order to get Zach to finish something, you have to dangle something he wants over his head.
I don't
I'm just
know if
saying,
you
he's our
realize this or
one
not,
artist.
Raymond. Or sorry, I don't know if you realize this or not.
We've already, you.
I don't know if you realize this or not, Neefu, but comics take a lot more work on the artist part.
If I hadn't had my WoW subscription expire at the same time that nobody was online on WoW, you would have never finished that picture for the mixologist.
That's not true. It would have just taken longer.
It's you know, don't feel so bad.
Actually,
man, because,
honestly, I actually had it open and everything. I just found that as an opportunity to get you to do something I wanted.
I had
don't-
already agreed to it like 2 weeks earlier.
Don't feel so bad. My older brother promised my wife and I a picture as a wedding present 3 years ago. We're second in line of pictures he's got to draw for people.
Art
Speaking
takes
of
a
things
lot of
that are-
time, and it's really easy to get discouraged with something, man.
Speaking
Yeah,
of,
and I think because he was like, it's going to be a wedding picture for you. He really wants it to be perfect, which means it's never really a good time.
That's the problem with being an artist, is that it's all about like perfection, and man, perfection is not good. It's not good to be a perfectionist.
speaking of, you know, art
Perfectionism?
getting done
Art?
and being perfectionist and blah, blah, blah. So I've been rewatching Battlestar Galactica for the first time in a long, long time.
Someday I hope to finish the series.
And I've been having a very weird experience watching this show because, you know, I watched the show as it aired. And past, like, when it ended, I don't think I rewatched more than maybe the miniseries. So it's been 7 years since I've watched any Battlestar Galactica at all. And in that time, my tastes on what is good and what is bad storytelling have changed.
Basically, he's saying Battlestar Galactica sucks.
No, I'm
Sucks.
saying
You said
No, he's saying that he used to suck.
what I'm saying is that there are things that I'm noticing now that are just that now like make the storyteller inside me cry so badly. But then I was also thinking about it's like, you know, okay, so I guess my big example here, the beginning of season 2, they spend like 7 or 8 episodes trying to resolve the season 1 finale story arc. That is way too many episodes. They do not have that much story in there and end up like artificially starting problems to make it last an extra couple episodes. And just it just turns some of the characters into 2-dimensional plot devices instead of 3-dimensional people. But then it's like, okay, well, they had a year to come up with 11 episodes or 10 or 11 episodes, and they finished them. They're struggling with some of the same story problems that I have noticed on my own story. And they are on the screen there. It's like, I'm watching that. I'm like, yep, I have that. I've had that problem. I've had that problem. I've had that problem. But in the time that I've worked on this story and correcting some of those problems, it's nowhere near done. And they finished it.
They also had a team of people, but...
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so it's been interesting rewatching it and just seeing some of the, I guess, flaws that I did not notice when I was younger and naive.
So young.
I've been watching. I almost called it Stargate. I've been watching Star Trek.
I've been watching Deep Star Trek.
Yeah,
Deep Star
Galactica.
Trek.
that's actually what I almost combined it with
SG-19.
Battlestar Galactica. But I've been watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and that show's pretty good. I like it.
I've been watching
me
it
happy.
too. In fact, you have been spurring me on because I started watching it before you, and then I recommended it. And then after like a few days, you told me that you were basically caught up with where I was. So now every night I watch more episodes.
Wait, where are
'cause I
you
think
at?
If
What season are you on?
Zam will surpass me.
So I might still be ahead of you. What season are you on?
No, I'm on season 5.
I am as well.
See, I just got to keep up with
What
the
episode? What
Joneses.
episode? I want to see who's further.
The last one I watched was Trials and Tribulations.
Step it up, man. I'm on episode 16.
Dang it.
Trials and
No.
Tribulations is a great episode.
No, I had heard about that years ago, and I was like, someday I've got to watch it. So I was very happy when it finally came up in the next in the
Yeah,
queue.
that one was really good. Like they basically I guess it was for like a Star Trek 30th anniversary or something like that.
Speaking of, it's the 50th within this last week.
But
Oh, wow.
they basically did an episode where they
They go back in
They go
time
back
to
in
one of the
time.
classic Star Trek original series
and
episodes.
they since they're going back in time, they have to dress like that, and they actually use like, you know, effects to make it look like they're shooting with the same cameras or whatever, and then they
Same set design.
Yeah, they're probably just the same sets, and they just cut themselves into the original episode, and they have
And
a
it's
story
pretty
going
well
on.
done.
It was really, really well done, and it just had a lot of heart to it. It was really good.
I just love the scenes where it's like stuff from the original episode and they're just in the background trying to look nonchalant.
Yeah, I mean, you could see some of the scenes like when Cisco's talking to Kirk.
Yeah, that one's the most obvious.
But it was still good. And I mean,
The
Cisco was,
same sets?
No, it can't
30
be the same
years?
yeah, you're right. It can't be. But they
But
look
they're
the
not
same.
hard sets to remake.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
look
I think
like
they had
shit.
a budget of $100 on that show.
I don't know why that's the part that stood out to me.
Yeah, you should. It's a good episode. It's a really good episode, actually.
It is. Especially if you've seen The Trouble with Triples.
Yeah.
Which is the only original series episode I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it when I was a kid. And I was just talking to my wife about it. And I'm like, and that's like one of the most famous and best original episodes. And she's like, is it? And I'm like, I don't know. It's the only one I've ever seen. And when I saw it, I think someone told me that. I don't know. I was like 7.
Yeah, it was a good one. It had a lot of heart, like I was saying. Like it felt like this was something that they really cared about.
Yeah, it was a real tribute.
Yeah.
Anyway, now that we're talking about shows from the 90s,
but yeah,
must be another show from the
Deep Space Nine is really good. Like
It is.
It's probably my favorite of the Star Trek shows I've seen. At first I was really not on board with it, but they've really pulled out some interesting stuff. Like
I just don't think they could make another Star Trek series like the Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine.
well, I love that this show, like, it may still be, problem week most of the time, but they still stick with their continuity. It does not necessarily reset every episode. In fact, it rarely does.
Well, it's like every season finale, they do something to change the status quo for the next season.
Oh, yeah, the one that I'm on right now is crazy.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Neefu's typing away.
Oh, that's not me. That's Sam. He's
Actually,
playing
you're
WoW
probably
still.
picking up my wife, because she's typing.
Wow.
I'm on a flight path,
bit
so
of
I'm
a-
doing a whole lot of nothing right now.
It's a bit of a Freudian slip.
Yes.
You're married to this game.
Speaking of being married to your wife, not the game. Happy anniversary!
Oh, thank you.
Just past 2 years. Good for you. Yay! You're not divorced yet, I guess.
Yeah, better than most like Hollywood marriage. Isn't it always like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
So
Well,
congrats.
and with that, we've come to the end of episode 73.
Bye,
of
everyone.
Cool Down Timer. If you would like to get yourself potentially a free Steam game, you can email the answer to the question of the week, which Sam will give you in just a second, to contact us at cooldowntimer.com. Speaking of, while you think of your question of the week, we did get a response from Andrew to our question of the week from episode 72.
Congrats, Andrew.
Which was our episode about Stranger Things.
What was his answer?
So, if I remember correctly, the question was, what were some of the more interesting fan theories that you have heard about? Fan theories or questions about Stranger Things. Let me read them really fast.
Spoiler alert here.
So the sheriff's daughter's illness may have been brought on by something related to the Upside Down. During his flashbacks, while he is in the Upside Down looking for Will, there is a scene with him outside playing with his daughter where she starts to have some kind of problem. If you watch closely, she has a very spooked look and jerks her head as if she may have seen some kind of monster in another dimension. It seems implied that her illness starts after whatever that scene was. If it was a natural medical condition related to the Upside Down isn't confirmed, really. I don't know how likely this is, but I've seen people discussing it online. And then he mentions that apparently the show's creators have a 30-page document written about the Upside Down and the monster. And then he thinks that 11 is not completely gone.
Yes.
And that she's probably in the Upside Down or something.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think there even might be any connection between his daughter's sickness and all this weirdness.
I definitely noticed the spooked face. They didn't. I don't know if they. It was definitely something that I noticed, I guess, is all I'll say. Because I'm better than you. Nah, 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 nah.
All right, then.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So that is. Wow. And question of the week. What is your question
I
of the
guess
week this week?
question of the week is, what nostalgic piece of art have you come back to and realized it wasn't as good as you originally thought it was? Battlestar Galactica sucks.
I mean,
What I'm trying
I
to
don't
say
need to
here.
explain myself. If people have gotten this far, they heard what I already said about it, so I don't need to.
Anyway, yeah, so that's the question.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks then.
Why the hell am
Goodbye.
I coming up with the questions of the week? This is ridiculous.
Bye.
Cool down time, yeah.